So the Coast Guard says they found a debris field in the area where the Titan may have gone missing, and if this is the submersible, then either it crashed and uh, hit the seafloor and broke up, or maybe exploded when it got too deep into the ocean.
Roxanne, it sounds like we may be getting an update right now. Our producers advise us that the Coast Guard says that they have found a debris field at this point.
In the area where they were searching.
Where they were searching. So, of course, we're going to continue to bring all the very latest to our viewers on that. In the meantime, we want to ask you about the company, OceanGate. It's faced criticism from marine groups in the past. Tell us about those criticisms as well as any oversight that's in place for these types of excursions.
Yeah, there was a group of people in the industry who wrote a draft letter to OceanGate, and we spoke to one of those signatories yesterday, and he was saying the problem they had was not that it wasn't up to safety standards, but that OceanGate did not even try to get the submersible passed or approved by these international organizations that typically certify the safety of submersibles.
Why, why did he not want to get certified? Is it because the ship would not have passed whatsoever? The CEO has been. It just seems to be that he has just been pretty greedy.
Experts say submersibles, unlike boats, are largely unregulated, especially because they operate in international waters. There is something called the Passenger Vessel Safety Act that regulates submersibles carrying passengers, but that did not cover the Titan, according to experts, because the vessel doesn't fly an American flag or operate in American waters.
You know, Roxana, one of the things that has been mentioned over and over by experts, and I'm seeing this tweet where they're saying a debris field was discovered within the search area by an ROV near the Titanic. Experts within the Unified Command are evaluating the information for the next press briefing, and they provide a link. You know, the hope was or has been that if the vessel was still whole, basically, that there may be enough oxygen. But what have we heard about other concerns other than the oxygen?
Even if the submersible is whole, they're almost out of air, and getting the submersible to the surface is another monumental task. So even if we get the submersible to the surface, they're going to be dead.
Running out from the experts.
We've heard about fears of hypothermia. It could be very cold. Do the people on board have any food? Did they have water? I mean, they might be able to last a few days without food, we're told, but water, it's very much more difficult. Oxygen, of course, as you mentioned, is the main concern, and it's not even clear if the oxygen tank they had was ruptured or not. If it was intact, you know, even though people might have had oxygen, they're still exhaling carbon dioxide, and that, we were told, is not easily absorbed by the vessel.
Well, Roxana, we'll let you go and continue your reporting. Thank you so much.
Well, if crews are able to find the missing submersible, and unfortunately this news does not put a lot of optimism back into the search, but there's also the dangerous mission of trying to retrieve it.
Joining us now is retired Navy Vice Admiral Robert Murrett. He is the Deputy Director of the Syracuse University Institute for Security Policy and Law. Robert, even if the sub is located today, and, you know, actually, I just kind of want to turn to this tweet that we're seeing from the Coast Guard that says a debris field was discovered within the search area by an ROV near the Titanic. Experts within the Unified Command are evaluating the information. What do you read from that?
Yeah, the first thing point I would make is that there was a lot of debris on the ocean floor.
Yeah.
Having said that, for the Coast Guard to identify this as debris of interest, I guess, describe it as that, suggests that they may have some reason to believe it's associated to what's happening to the Titan. I don't know that yet, but I caution until we get some further word, because there is so much debris on the ocean floor in and around the Titanic. that firm identification would have to be the next step. Just one other closing comment I'd make is that I think most people have been operating under the assumption and the hope that the Titan was still intact wherever it was, either on the ocean or some ocean depth. But yeah, this may not be the case, but we'll find out soon enough.
Appreciate that context as we're trying to sort through the very latest news on it.
I still think that due to how long it took to find the Titanic and that being a large ship, it's going to be kind of hard to find this small submersible. Maybe they flew too close to the Titanic and got like stuck inside it, or fell into a crack or something. Or maybe they're not anywhere near the Titanic and, they may have hit an underwater current and got like moved away. So it may be impossible to actually find these people.
I want to also ask you about the Magellan remotely operated vehicle, because that is part of the resources that are being deployed today. Tell us about the Magellan, how it helps in the search.
Yeah, the Magellan is one of, I know there's at least 3 and probably more remotely operated vehicles, unmanned vehicles that can go down to extensive depth. And some of them are even able to do additional things when they're on the ocean floor, that is to recover material on the ocean floor, whether it's intact or not. But the family of remotely operated vehicles that are engaged in this operation, whether they're from the Canadian, the U.S., the French Navy, and the other participants, and the Royal Navy as participants there, to speak to the effectiveness of the interagency team that the Coast Guard has put together, and all the nations and different organizations that have come together with, among other things, the Magellan ROV and other key assets that are on the scene.
And Robert, I mean, obviously, time is of the essence, not just, just because of the situation of oxygen, but I'm curious about crews also say that the deep sea medical personnel that has come in is focusing on how to rescue them, but that they're using equipment like a hyperbaric chamber that is supposed to arrive at the site today. Can you talk to us about the importance of having this kind of equipment? What are some of those other risks if they did find the vessel whole and they still survived? What's the importance of having this kind of critical equipment?
Yeah, that kind of equipment and those kind of personnel are essential to the interagency team that the Coast Guard is on scene there. The medical personnel, both in terms of monitoring the current situation, analysis, oxygen and carbon dioxide, likely elements inside the vehicle itself, but also if it is recovered intact, which we hope for, notwithstanding the debris field report we have now, but otherwise, the medical evaluation of the 5 souls that were in that submersible, it would be very important. And all members of these interagency teams that have come together for this are important, but among the more important ones are the medical personnel that need to be on scene.
All right, Robert Morat, thank you very much for helping give us context.